Good morning and welcome on this beautiful Sunday morning. We're going to open with our hymn of the month, number 324, Where My Free Spirit Onward Leads. We continue our exploration of the theme, Awakening Curiosity, and our hymn invites us to celebrate life's mysteries. So let's rise in body and spirit and sing together. We're so glad you're here, just as you are, with all that you love and all that has brought you to this space. I'm Reverend Joyce, and my pronouns are she and her. Our worship team this morning is Tim, our music director, Lindsay, our director of religious education, and the talented unicantors. Autumn, our office manager, is on tech, and Linda is serving as our worship associate this morning. As always, do join us for coffee hour after the service. If you are online, do like, comment, and share this worship service with others. If today is your first day worshiping with us, we are thrilled that you are here. Let us know who you are so that we can be in touch.
Good morning. I'm Linda Kimmel. We gather today on the ancestral lands of the Ho-Chunk and Potawatomi peoples, and we are humbled to be on this sacred ground. This land, this nation, our faith, and our lives are shaped by a complex history of oppression, freedom, resistance, migration, conflict, justice, and hope. From these legacies, we learn to grow, reflect, seek healing, give thanks, and strive to build a better world for those who will inherit our choices. We gather today for worship, and as we gather, we join in our sacred ritual. The flaming chalice is the symbol of our faith, a beacon of truth, a fire for justice, and a warmth for the soul. Toria will light our chalice today. She will be turning 11 in 2 weeks, and she is excited for her brother that he will be starting pony camp soon. Let us speak together the covenant of our church. Love, Spirit, church, and reason is its guide, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and freedom, and to serve human need. This is our covenant. Now let us sing together our chalice response song.
As we settle into our time together this morning, we share our prayers of the people, the naming of joy and sorrow, the holding in hearts of those we love. We hold in our hearts all those recovering from illnesses and experiencing maladies of body or soul. May mercy and healing attend them. As we enter the final day of May and head into the first week of June, we know our families and our kids are crossing a major threshold into summer break. So today, we hold a collective space of both joy and deep breath for all the parents and caregivers in our community. We celebrate the joy of long days, unstructured time, and the pure fun of childhood. We also want to name and hold the prayer for patience. We know that the shift in routine brings its own kind of chaos, extra noise, and the daily juggle of trying to balance it all. To the parents navigating this transition, may you find moments of unexpected ease. May you extend a massive amount of grace to yourselves when the days feel long, and may this summer bring your families deep renewal and connection. We are glad you and your children are part of our village. Now, I invite you in this space to name those aloud or in silence who you are holding in your heart this morning. We lift all these up with intentions of love and healing. I invite you now to turn to your neighbor and greet them in fellowship. Spirit of life, known by many names and felt in the quiet spaces between us, we come together this morning exactly as we are. Bring your joys, bring your heavy hearts, bring your doubts and your deep hopes. May we pause, step out of the rush of the week, and simply be present to one another. Let us breathe in the spirit of community. Let us open our minds to curiosity, and let us touch the peace that comes when we remember that we are not alone. Come, let us worship together.
I'm Lindsay, your Director of Religious Education. My pronouns are she and her. Working with our children and youth today are Liz in the nursery and Rebecca and myself with the children in grades 1 and up. As a reminder, the sound of children is always welcome here, but please do silence your electronic devices. Our story this morning is The Circles All Around Us by Brad Montague. We begin by drawing a circle on the ground along each shoe, a safe little place for just one person, nobody in this circle but you. You could keep that circle closed to everyone but yourself, but that would be like a library with just one book on the shelf. So let's draw a bigger circle for you and your family to share. Now you see what all can happen in a circle full of care. It becomes a happier circle as more loved ones come to stay. And wouldn't it be even better if all your friends could come and play? So you stretch and draw your circle even bigger than it's been, and let a few more people know they're welcome to come in. In the circles all around us, everywhere that we all go, there's a difference we can make and a love we can all show. Yet there are still so many outside the circle who are different in all they do. Though it feels slightly uncomfortable, we draw a bigger circle for them too. It doesn't mean the circle is easy. It can get harder the more we share. But wonderful things can happen when love is known and felt everywhere. As time passes, our eyes open, we see others we really care for, and that's when we ask ourselves, well, what's this circle really there for? So let us create bigger circles all around us for the rest of our days. Let our caring ripple out in a million little ways. In the circles all around us, everywhere that we all go, there's a difference we can make and a love we can all show. As our circles grow and grow, and we watch them wonder-eyed, remember the first circle started with just the love you hold inside. And if you'll join us in singing the first verse of This Little Light of Mine, we'll head downstairs.
I hope you subscribe to the Kairos, our weekly newsletter. Please be sure to read it for announcements about upcoming events and activities. Here are some things I want to point out. Join us after the service today for the 5th Sunday Safety Presentation. We are learning about weather and building emergencies with a little first aid. It will last about 15 minutes, and it will be right here in this room. Next Sunday, June 7th, is our annual congregational meeting right after service. We need you here to review and approve the budget and our slate of candidates for leadership positions. We also have some celebrations to do, so we hope to see you here next Sunday. Each month, we'll be highlighting the activities of one of our Faith in Action teams. For the month of May, that is our Sex and Gender Justice team. So I want to invite Leah to come forward to tell you about what they're doing.
Good morning. I'm Leah Gima, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. We eagerly invite you to march with us in the 3rd annual Rockford Area Pride Parade this Saturday, June 6th. We will meet at 11 o'clock in the staging area on Market Street between 3rd and State. Parade marshals will be there to help you. Wear comfortable shoes, bring water, and dress for the weather. It looks like it might rain. Yellow Side with Love shirts are encouraged but not required, so wear one if you have it. Borrow one from the church if you wish, or just wear something as colorful as possible. I'll have the loaner shirts in coffee hour if you want to borrow one, so come see me. I'll also have the parade lineup in case you want to look at it. This year they're having a float contest, so it should be a spectacular event. In other news, Winnebago County Citizens for Choice is holding its annual Rovolution Pro-Choice fundraiser on Wednesday, June 24th at the Radisson in Rockford. It will include dinner, silent auction, and a special guest speaker. Tickets are $65 per person, $35 for students. Please join WCCC as they raise funds to support reproductive justice and local pro-choice candidates. Today, we share the plate with Rockford Sexual Assault Counseling, which provides 24-hour counseling for victims of sexual assault and abuse in Winnebago, Boone, and Ogle counties. Their mission is to respond to the needs of victims and their families and significant others through emergency services, emotional support, counseling, referral, advocacy, and education. 80% of what is collected today will go to Rockford Sexual Assault Counseling. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Into a time of prayer and meditation. As we hold the joys and struggles of our community today, we recognize that the love inside this room cannot be contained by these walls. We look at a world that feels deeply fractured, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the distance between where we are and where we want to be. But we remember the truth, an old truth from Lao Tzu, that peace isn't something that drops out of the sky. It moves in circles. It reminds us that if there is to be peace in the world, it has to start right here, in the small, quiet places. It begins in the heart. It reaches into our homes. It stretches across the street to our neighbors, and it ripples out until it heals the world. The poem is here. If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there is to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. Let us take a moment to breathe together, settling in our hearts and grounding ourselves in that peace as we enter into a moment of quiet reflection.
When I heard the topic of today's sermon, I started thinking about housing in our community. I live in a safe, diverse, middle-class neighborhood where we all take pride in our houses and our yards. From my work in community health, I have visited many people who live in neighborhoods that are very different. Poor neighborhoods with rundown houses and unattended yards. People with low income often have no choice but to live in rundown houses because they can't afford to move anywhere else. Their landlords don't always keep up with properties the way they should. The residents are not motivated or have the resources to put into the appearance of their yards. In 1974, the federal government established the Housing Allowance Program, also known as Section 8 housing vouchers, to help low-income people move into safe, affordable housing. The program is administered by local public housing authorities. The idea was that this program would provide low-income people with a choice of where they lived and stimulate landlords to repair existing houses. The program's been successful in moving many families out of public housing. Unfortunately, it has not succeeded in helping these residents integrate into their new neighborhoods. Section 8 residents do not magically absorb the skills and values of their new neighbors. In my neighborhood, when someone new moves in, we go over to greet and welcome them. We often bring food or a dessert. We offer to loan yard care equipment to help them weed, mow, or trim bushes. There are 4 Section 8 houses in my neighborhood. One of the Section 8 residents welcomed our friendship and is integrated nicely into the neighborhood. The other 3 could not bring themselves to trust neighbors and are not vested in how their yards look. After asking around, I discovered that Section 8 recipients are not taught what is expected of them to care for their yards. They are not taught the skills they need to fit into the neighborhood. I wonder what can be done about this. Is there a way to get the Public Housing Authority to provide training to Section 8 residents about these things? I think of the housing project built a few years ago off of East State Street, where volunteer mentors were linked with each family to help them learn the life skills and expectations of their new neighborhood. Why can't something like that be done for Section 8 houses? I think of other things that can be done on a smaller scale. As a volunteer with Lifescape, each spring I participate in the Garden Box Project. We go to homes of low-income families and plant flowers in garden boxes in their yards or on their porches. It's a great feeling to see the smiles on the recipients' faces when we are done. Other volunteers go to houses to help with bigger projects, like repairing step railings and removing scrub trees and bushes. There are always more people requesting these services than we have volunteers for. Lifescape buys the supplies and the flowers. The volunteers provide the manpower. How can we get more people to volunteer for projects like these? I know there are many caring people in our communities. It is my hope that more of them will choose to volunteer to help people feel valued and have nicer places to live.
please rise in body or spirit for our hymn gathered. Oh, Tim's coming up.
Thank you. Thank you. Your enthusiasm is overwhelming. This is another round that we know well, and we will sing well. I have every confidence. Here's our instructions. We're going to sing it all through together once to make sure everyone knows the melody. You are free to look in your gray hymnal at number 389 if you want to follow along with the music. So we'll sing it through together once, and then we'll sing it as a round. This side is group 1, and the sopranos are going to sing with group 1. Kim, raise your hand. Kim, and forward, you are group 2. And the altos are going to sing with group 2. Behind Kim, you are group 3, and the tenors are going to sing with you. And basses, you are group 4 on your own. So we'll sing it all together once. We'll start the round. I'll bring you in, and we'll sing it as a round 2 times through. And when you're done with your second time through the round, just keep singing that last line, Spirit, draw near, until we're all singing it together. Now, if you would rise in body or spirit, we'll sing together once. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, Spirit, draw near. 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 Thanks.
Our first reading today is from the introduction of The Sum of Us, What Racism Costs Everyone and How We Can Prosper Together by Heather McGhee. Why can't we have nice things? Perhaps there's been a time when you've pondered exactly this question. And by nice things, you weren't thinking about a hovercraft or laundry that does itself. You were thinking about more basic aspects of high-functioning society, like adequately funded schools or reliable infrastructure, wages that keep workers out of poverty, or a public health system to handle pandemics. The we who can't seem to have nice things is Americans, all Americans. This includes the white Americans who are the largest group of the uninsured and the impoverished, as well as the Americans of color who are disproportionately so. We is all of us who have watched generations of American leadership struggle to solve big problems and reliably improve the quality of life for most people. We know what we need. Why can't we have it? Our second reading is from Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. In a culture of gratitude, everyone knows that gifts will follow a circle of reciprocity and flow back to you again. This is the nature of the gift. Its value increases in its passage. In a market economy where land and water are property, commodities to be bought and sold, scarcity is marketed to drive up prices. But in a gift economy, abundance is generated by sharing. The currency of a gift economy is relationship, and the ultimate gain is not individual wealth, but collective survival and joy. Each year, thousands of people travel down the avenues of our country that bear the name of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. There are hundreds of these streets across the United States, and they were mapped out to honor a vision of hope, dignity, and justice. But if you actually drive down an MLK Boulevard in almost any city, you quickly notice a pattern. I saw it myself when I lived in Atlanta and Milwaukee. The street often begins in a beautiful place. The trees are mature and full, shading the sidewalks. The homes are well kept. The grocery stores are stocked with healthy food options, and the parks have shiny new play equipment. But as you keep driving, mile by mile, the landscape changes. It happens slowly at first, and then all at once, the trees disappear. The pavement grows cracked and neglected. The neighborhood grocery stores vanish, replaced by liquor stores, corner stores, and check cashing places. There are more boarded up houses and businesses. By the time we reach the end of the street, the surroundings have become stark, underinvested, and bleak. It is a heavy, heartbreaking irony. The very streets named after the man who dreamed of the beloved community are so often the places where neglect and inequality are most visible. When I stop at a red light in these struggling parts of the community, looking out the window at the contrast, a question forms in my mind. It's a question that feels so simple. Why are things so hard here? Why do we choose to let some parts of the human family thrive while we allow others to wither? In her book, The Sum of Us, the author Heather McGhee captures my and others' frustration. She looks at our crumbling public infrastructure, our fractured neighborhoods, and our underfunded communal spaces, and she asks the simple question that we confront as we too look at the broken landscapes. Why can't we have nice things? What comes to mind when you first hear that question? Why can't we have nice things? Who or what is keeping us from having nice things? It's easy just to blame the current mess on Washington or say the math and the budget doesn't work. We like to treat our problems like they are brand new conditions, like we're just living through a bad political moment that we'll eventually figure out. But this isn't a new story. The truth is, we are living with choices that were made decades ago. If we want to understand why the houses are boarded up and the businesses closed when you drive down MLK Boulevard, or why our neighborhoods feel so split up today, we have to look back at what happened the very first time this country was asked to share. In Heather McGhee's book, The Sum of Us, the chapter, Racism Drained the Pool, is very telling. The pool is the strongest image in the book. As I was reading the book, I was ready to give up on it at this point, and it's only the second chapter. When I read that chapter, I was so saddened by what I was reading. I couldn't just keep flipping the pages. I had to close the book, sit back, and let the tears flow. She writes about the 1930s and 40s when towns all across this country built these massive, beautiful public swimming pools. They weren't just concrete holes in the ground. They were huge, acre-long community centers. On a hot summer day, they were the pride of the town, filled with splashing water and the sound of children laughing. They were monuments to what a community could have when people invested in public places. But then the 1950s and 60s arrived. The federal courts ordered these public pools to desegregate. Black and brown families won the legal right to swim alongside their white neighbors. And instead of sharing the water, town after town made a choice. They didn't just close the doors, they drained the water. They brought in bulldozers, smashed the foundations, filled those beautiful places with dirt and concrete. In places all over the country, they paved right over the parks or stopped building public pools to avoid letting a black child jump into the same water as a white child. As a black woman reading that history, it really hurt. I'd heard pieces of this story before, but seeing it laid out like that disturbed me in a deep way. I was just overwhelmed by the sheer cruelty of the denial of simple, innocent play, the denial of families and communities coming together to enjoy a summer day. I sat there looking at the pages, thinking about the legacy of those empty pools. I thought about generations of black kids who grew up not learning how to swim because the neighborhood pool had been turned to cement. I thought about the drowning statistics we see in our communities today, real lives lost because a basic life-saving skill was intentionally stolen from their parents and grandparents. Today, 64% of black children do not know how to swim, while 40% of white children do not. If the adults in a child's life do not swim, a child is less likely to learn. Every day, there are nearly 10 accidental drownings, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That's 3,500 people every year who die in water. Within these numbers is a startling fact. The fatal drowning rate of black children is 3 times higher than white children. And then I kept thinking about the people who ordered the destruction of the pools and the people who held the shovels. How much hatred, how much resentment do you have to carry in your spirit to look at a beautiful pool on a blistering afternoon and then look at your own kids sweating in the heat and say, no, I would rather my own babies suffer than see those other babies happy. That is the lie of the zero-sum mindset. It convinces us that our neighbor's gain must be our loss, even when the price of that lie is our own enjoyment. People chose to go without quality public spaces, and when you have been living with that choice, and we have been living with that choice and its consequences ever since. And it wasn't just the swimming pools, as I continue to read. Once you see this pattern, you start to notice the zero-sum mindset everywhere. McGhee tracks down how we do this in our workplaces. In the middle of the last century, working class people were building power through labor unions, winning better wages, health care, and weekends off. But the moment black workers started gaining access to those same unions, the folks at the very top managed to convince white workers that unions were just a handout for people who didn't want to work. They broke up the unions by dividing the workers, and today, wages have flattened out for everyone. She shows how we did it to colleges. Public universities used to be virtually free in this country until the student bodies started to diversify, and suddenly we decided public funding was too expensive. Now we have entire generation drowning in student debt. We did it to healthcare. States literally walked away from billions of dollars to expand Medicaid because it was framed as a handout for them. And as a result, rural hospitals closed and left families of every color with nowhere to go when they're sick. And the pattern keeps happening today. The surviving rural hospitals are still under a great deal of stress due to cuts in Medicaid and the letting go of the Affordable Care Act subsidies for many. We were told we couldn't afford to keep these entitlements while millions of people lose their health insurance and hundreds of rural emergency rooms are on the verge of shutting down completely. When a community's hospitals close, the community suffers. We keep draining our own pools, thinking we're only hurting our neighbor without realizing that we are all impacted by the lack of resources. So, how do we move away from the zero-sum mindset? How do we even start to heal a mindset that would rather destroy a public pool than share it? I think it starts with something simple but pretty brave: awakening curiosity. It's no coincidence that we're sitting here on the 5th Sunday of the month, right on the line between our theme of awakening curiosity and where we're headed next month, which is flourishing together. We move toward flourishing by engaging with each other with respectful curiosity. Curiosity becomes the bridge to healing our divisions. Because the zero-sum myth is a lie that says if you win, I have to lose. It completely depends on us accepting this lie without question. It tricks good, well-meaning people into acting against their own interests. It closes our minds and makes us protect our tiny little corners, even if it means our own miss out on enjoying the good things a community can offer. So that's what racism does. It manufactures a false sense of scarcity. It tells us that there isn't enough safety or enough money or enough joy to go around, so you better lock your gates. But curiosity is the key that refuses to look at a locked gate or a closed heart and accept it as normal. Curiosity opens our minds and our hearts and helps us start asking questions. Who told us we couldn't share? Who convinced us that our success would somehow, my success would diminish your success? And what do we lose, all of us, the moment we believe these lies? When we dare to ask these questions, things begin to shift. We start to see that the world doesn't actually have to be a zero-sum game. There's a different reality out there, a positive sum reality. It's the truth that life multiplies when it's shared. When a struggling neighborhood gets investment, our city gets safer. When your children learn to swim, the whole community avoids tragedy. Curiosity helps us move past our fear. It allows us to stop staring at what we're afraid to lose and finally look at what we're missing out on. It's the only way we can begin to imagine what it looks like to build true community and flourish together. Now, I know how that sounds. It's easy to look at a phrase like flourishing together and think, come on, it's just beautiful, naive, wishful thinking. It sounds way too simple for the mess that we're actually in. But what if the people who actually study this for a living are reaching the same conclusion? The other day, I was listening to an NPR interview with Robert Reich. If you don't know him, he's an experienced economist who served as the Secretary of Labor. He has spent his entire life dealing with the cold, hard math of global markets and federal budgets, much like Heather McGhee. He looks back at his own generation, the baby boomers, with a lot of love, but also with a level of vulnerable honesty. The book is called Coming Up Short. He's short, coming up short, it's funny. And what Reich points out is that the generation born right after World War II grew up surrounded by the remnants of a massive public investment, great infrastructure, heavily subsidized state universities, and thriving civic spaces. But as the legal walls of segregation began to fall, rather than doing the hard work of sharing those nice things with everyone, the culture shifted. The focus across the whole country became very individualized. People worked incredibly hard to protect their own private families, building beautiful private circles for their own kids. But while everyone was busy taking care of their own doorsteps, our collective investment in the public square started to slip. We got caught up in a system that taught us to privatize our lives, and without even realizing it, we let the public assets, the things meant for everybody, fall away. Reich's observation isn't to point fingers, it's a confession. He's saying that as a society, despite our best intentions, we came up short on the common good. Near the end of the interview, the host asked him what grand economic theory or complex policy he would use to fix the system that feels so fractured today. And he didn't give this long, dense answer full of policy jargon. He just cut right through the noise and said something so basic, it sounds like it belongs in a nursery. And truly, it reflected my thoughts as well. He said the real fix comes down to one simple thing. We need to ask the ultra-rich and everyone else to do one thing: share. That's it. We just have to share. And here I am sitting in the parking lot of the IGA down the street, having my driveway moment, and I thought the same thing right before he said it. We are back to the basics of creating a great society. We have to share. And that simple word share is where the ideas of Robert Reich's economic confession meet Heather McGhee's conclusion in The Sum of Us. Because McGhee doesn't leave us with the pain of the drained pools. She walks us through all that history just to show us that there is a way out. She calls it the solidarity dividend. The solidarity dividend is the literal payoff we get when people across different races, backgrounds, and neighborhoods decide to stop fighting over the crumbs and actually join forces to build something better for everybody. It's the realization that when we advocate for clean water or great public schools or fair wages for our neighbors, we aren't losing anything. We are gaining a thriving society that lifts us up too. It's a sacred truth that we can achieve so much more together than we could ever do apart. When we choose solidarity, we aren't just being nice. We are doing the practical, life-giving work of creating community where everyone can thrive. And that brings us back to the circle that we shared this morning during the Story for All Ages. There's circles all around us. The story starts with each of us. We begin with this tiny, safe little circle drawn right around our own feet. It's comfortable, it's easy to protect. But if we stay there, the circle becomes a cage. To truly live, we have to keep drawing the circle bigger. We have to push the lines out to include our family, then our neighbors, then the people we don't know, and eventually, the people we have been told to fear. That is exactly what a positive sum world looks like. It's the spiritual courage and curiosity to keep drawing the circle wider, refusing to believe the lie that there isn't enough room or enough love or enough money or enough water for all of us. As Unitarian Universalists, this is our deepest covenant. We don't live in a zero-sum universe. Our theology tells us that grace is infinite, love is interconnected, and our flourishing is completely bound up with one another. So let's continue to look at the world with curiosity. Let's look at the hard, struggling places in our world and dare to ask how we can soften them. And let's have the courage to keep pushing our circles outward until there are no longer any gates or any walls or any empty pools. Just one vast, beautiful human family flourishing together, enjoying the beautiful things in life. May it be so. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn. heart and a ready spirit. Remember that the values we speak of here are meant to be lived out there, in the ordinary spaces of our daily lives. May you find the courage to be kind when it is difficult, to choose connection over fear, and to act with justice and love in all that you do. Linda has extinguished our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment, which we carry with us until we are together again. I invite you to join hands if you'd like, but if touch is private for you and you'd rather not, please keep your hands where they are, trusting that we will respect your choices. Now let us sing together our closing song.